William, hopefully your favorite videographer. We are here at the Dallas Area Rapid Transit Board meeting, the agency known as DART to Dallas, Texas residents. As a service to the Dallas community, we plan to cover DART board meetings from gavel to gavel. Public comments are required to keep DART board aware of issues close to the ridership that they may not get through other resources.
Good evening. We are going to call the Board of Directors of Dallas Area Rapid Transit to order. It is now 6:40, and we will begin the meeting. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for November 14th. Is there any changes, edits, or anything? If not, do I hear a motion? Second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. The next item is we have a report from our CAC. Kay Sheck, are you giving that for us? Yes. All right, great. Thank you. Thank you.
During our November meeting, we had 14 members present with one absence, a person who had to work late. Jack Wrzezinski, Director of DART Economic Development, explained DART policy goals and definition for transit-oriented economic development. Of special interest to the CAC was learning that development around transit is partnered with member cities on publicly owned land, primarily with rail systems, and includes villages, town centers, urban infill, and greenfields in an area within a 5 to 10 minute walk to a transit center or stop. When planning an area for development, DART must abide by city housing, planning, and parking policies while establishing a uniqueness and efficiency specific to the chosen site and in coordination with city and other government entities. Interaction between bus, streetcar, and rail is important. The goal is to enhance communities by providing transportation choices and access to opportunities that were not previously available to all residents. Regarding income opportunities, bringing more riders into an area through economic development increases business for retailers, and because living close to transit increases the value of residences, property tax revenue rises for cities, and in addition, new revenue opportunities occur for DART in sales tax and marketing income. DART's economic development plans have been smartly focused to fill changing needs of communities. As an example, the internet has sparked decreases in office size. This transformation is a plus for transit centers because businesses close to them generally occupy smaller spaces. Presently, the majority of demand for public transit is from single households and couples without children. Some CAC members remarked that those statistics may be caused by the lack of routes and headways that meets the needs of other populations. For example, parents are blocked from the use of public transit because the time increase caused by longer headways prevent them from making stops to and from work for groceries, pharmaceuticals, and child care or school drop-offs and pickups. In addition, students may not have timely access to travel from a secondary school to attend advanced classes at colleges or go to extracurricular activities. If long headways and transfers become too time-consuming, transit ridership, especially in the suburbs, becomes impossible for the majority of child-rearing populations. DART's emphasis on close proximity of transit to homes is a plus for singers and for parents, but again, parent ridership is discouraged because of time limitations. Millennials are the largest transit population because they wait longer to marry and become parents. What happens to DART ridership when millennial singles become parents and find public transit no longer efficient for their use? The question is, does DART need to focus more on parental transit needs in order to avoid ridership decreases or shutdowns in the future? Parents using their services generate as they age into more seniors using their services. Perhaps increases in ridership will occur among both millennials and seniors if more concentration is directed now toward accessibility and efficiency for all potential riders. CAC members, while identifying some areas that we believe need more emphasis, are impressed with DART's past economic accomplishments and their plans for future development, as well as their coordination cooperation with the cities they serve. It is not an easy task to meet so many varied community needs, but the consensus of CAC members is that DART is doing outstanding work in economic planning and development. Under old business, our October minutes were approved. Under new business, there was a brief discussion about Atlanta's MARTA transit system using farmers markets to attract more people to public transit. CAC members thought it to be an interesting concept that could be useful here if it is in motion during peak times on weekdays. As a side benefit, if prices were kept low, it might prevent riders from having to make a grocery stop on the way home. This Thursday evening, December 14th at 5:30 p.m., the CAC is having their annual Christmas dinner and party. Would be honored to have any or all of you attend. As an added attraction, we plan to have some chorus singers there to bring us some holiday entertainment and cheer. We wish you all a happy holiday season, and thank you for your attention this evening.
Well, thank you, Ms. Shagg, and thank you for all your hard work and the committee's hard work. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Our next item is a public hearing. It's a public hearing for the discontinuation of Arlington Max service. I'm going to read the required script to you. I do not believe we have any registered speakers at this time, but I will go on and read it to you. Good evening, and thank you for attending tonight's public hearing. My name is Sue Bowman, and I will be the hearing official for this evening. For your information, DART has not received a request for hearing impaired service for this public hearing. Therefore, we have not provided a sign language interpreter. Tonight's public hearing will be divided into two parts. The first part will consist of a brief overview of the project by DART technical staff. The public hearing will follow the presentation. During the public hearing, we must follow some guidelines. Pre-registered speakers will make their comments first, followed by sign-in speakers in the order received. Those who do not wish to speak may submit written comment, and all comments will be included in the official public record. A DART board resolution has established a limit of 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers must address the topic of the hearing. Other subjects will not be allowed at the hearing. Questions, interchange, and discussions are not generally allowed in a hearing. However, if a board member wishes to raise a question, he or she may do so. Technical staff will be available after the public hearing for questions. Now, Rob Smith, Assistant Vice President of DART Service Planning, will make this presentation.
Thank you, and good evening. This public hearing involves the discontinuation of Route 221 Arlington Max service at the end of December of this month. Public hearings are required for changes involving new routes, routes with modifications to at least 25% of their alignment, routes with a significant adjustment in service frequency, or a major change to destinations along the route. The Route 221 Max service began in August of 2013. It was operated through an interlocal agreement between the DART Local Government Corporation, the City of Arlington, and the Fort Worth Transportation Authority. The current agreement with the City of Arlington expires at the end of the year, and the city will discontinue the current Max service, which they are funding for 100% of the cost, and replace it with a new on-demand service. The city's provided us with some information about that new service, and Ann Foss from the City of Arlington staff is here tonight for people who would like to get more information, and she has brochures that have this information on it to hand out to people who are interested. This is an on-demand shared ride service using 6 passenger vehicles. You make reservations through an app or a dial-in. There are no fixed schedules. It is a straight $3 per person charge available for the hours that are shown on the screen, with Saturday service available. That's not currently available with the MAX operation. And the map will start out serving Centerport Station and some of the core areas of Arlington shown on the screen on brown. That includes all of the current MAX stops, and then will be expanded to some other parts of Arlington in 2 phases in 2018. Those are also shown in the pink or orange section and the blue section on the map above. City of Arlington staff and our service planning staff are in attendance tonight to speak to riders or the public about these changes, and we'll have more information on the specifics of the Arlington service, the new service, and can answer questions. And the City of Arlington can provide more information on how this new service will work. And that concludes the technical presentation.
Tonight's hearing is being recorded by a court reporter, so all comments are a matter of public record. It is now 6:45. I got the official time, sorry. Tuesday, December 12, 2017. And according to the requirements set forth in DART's enabling legislation, this public hearing on the discontinuation of Route 221 MAX service is now open to receive comments. To date, DART has received no written comments on this issue above, and any written comments received by the end of the hearing will be added to this total. We will begin to receive comments now. I do have one speaker who has registered. Please be reminded there is a 3-minute limit in which to make your comment, and please keep the comments on the subject of the discontinuation of MAX service public hearing. The pre-registered person is Ms. Ann Foss. She is with the City of Arlington. Would she like to come down? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ann Foss. I'm a principal planner in the Community Development and Planning Department with the City of Arlington. I'd like to begin by saying thank you to the Dallas Area Rapid Transit Board of Directors for having us here. On behalf of the City of Arlington, I'd like to express our thanks for the opportunity to partner with DART on the MAX pilot project. Over the past 4 years, we've been able to test demand and interest in public transportation in Arlington with MAX. We've received great feedback, and riders have consistently been complimentary of the service provided by DART. The MAX service allowed us to gather data regarding how transportation can best meet the needs of our citizens. Although service is ending on December 31st of this year, MAX was a key first step in promoting transportation options in Arlington, and we look forward to continued opportunities to collaborate with the DART in the future. Related to the new Via rideshare service, we launched service yesterday, and it's off to a good start so far. We do have 10 vehicles in operation providing on-demand, flexible service, and as well as flexible schedules and destinations within the defined service areas. One minor update to the service area, or the service time shown in the slides provided earlier. On Saturdays, service will run from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for our initial phase. We do expect that the service times and service areas will expand in January based on demand. We encourage everyone to download the VIA application, even if you're not ready to use the service immediately. Downloading the app will allow you to receive updates regarding the service, as well as information about promotions. For example, this week, all rides are 25% off to encourage people to begin using the service. It's also very easy to ask questions and give feedback about the service within the app. And I'm available after the hearing to answer any questions, and I do have some additional information for anyone who's interested. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Foss. There are no other pre-registered speakers listed for this public hearing. Is there anyone present who would like to make a comment relevant to this topic? If someone wishes to make a comment, you can fill out the card and come forward. Otherwise, any comments made after the close of the public hearing will not be part of the record for this proceeding. Due to statutory requirements in DART's enabling legislation, this public hearing will remain open, and comments may be submitted through Friday, September 29th? December 29th, in Conference Room 1C beginning at noon. At the conclusion of that session, the public hearing on the discontinuation of MAX service will be closed. If there are no other verbal or written comments at this time, I want to thank all of you for attending the public hearing, and we will continue on with our regular agenda. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is our public comment period. I'm going to read this to you also. It's about our rules here. The general public comments will be allowed at the beginning of each DART board meeting for a total of 30 minutes. And again, at the end of the meeting, when the 30-minute period does not accommodate all persons who have signed up to speak. If you wish to speak at the end of the meeting, please fill out a public speaker card and turn it in to board support staff prior to the start of the meeting. Individuals who have addressed the board in the past 30 days will be recognized to speak during the public comment period at the end of the meeting. During the public comment period, board members may not interact with the speakers or other board members by asking questions or offering their own comments. Members of the public are reminded that your behavior during DART board meetings is governed by the DART Board Code of Conduct for Citizens, news media, and visitors. Personal attacks, impertinent or slanderous remarks, and boisterous conduct will not be allowed. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. The green light on the podium will indicate when you can begin speaking. The yellow light indicates that you have 1 minute left, and the red light indicates that your time has expired. Having said that, our first speaker, in order of their filling out their form, is Charles Turner. Mr. Turner. Yes, thank you, Mr. Turner. Would you like to come forward and make your comments? Thank you.
Thank you. Charles Turner, writer, 8 to 10 years. It is reported that Walmart is closing 250 plus stores next year. McDonald's, 1,000 stores. True enough, it is worldwide report. There's more than 2,000 stores saying they're going under. We're going into unemployment. Why do we go into a fare hike when we're going to need you the most? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Appreciate it. The next speaker is Taylor Chrysler.
Hi, everybody. My name's Taylor. I've been working with the North Texas Transit Riders since June, and I wanted to thank the council for pushing back the decision on the fare increase. I think it's been about 3 times now you've pushed back the decision on the fare increase, and I just wanted to thank the board for this. As you all know, the fare increase involves a 20% fare, a 20% high, oh my gosh, 20% fare increase when the rate of inflation for the past few years has been 6.5%. This doesn't make any sense. The minimum wage hasn't risen since 2009. And I'm really excited to go to more of these meetings and engage with you guys further and see what kind of alternatives you have that will increase ridership and expand public transit and make it more effective and reliable for the people who need it most. So thank you all and have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Chrysler. Our next speaker is Mr. Alex Telecki. Oh, Miss Alex Telecki. My apologies.
Hi, my name is Alex Telecki. I live in McKinney, Texas, and we want to become a DART board member city sometime, and when it happens, we want everyone to be able to afford it. So I'd ask you please not to raise fares. And also, I'd like to thank you for having put off your decision till March of next year to give you more time to consider, well, not doing it at all, which is what we hope you decide to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Stelecki. Next speaker is Mr. Dick Rivas.
Howdy, I'm Dick Rivas. I'm a retired journalist and professor. When I moved back to Dallas in 2014, I picked a house near the Inwood station because already I couldn't see to drive in the dark, and now it's getting where I'm scared of traffic in the daytime. So I ride dark pretty often. I feel sorry for all of you and anyone in public office today, because it seems that at all levels things aren't going well, and y'all get the blame. On the other hand, there is a problem, and I think it's with all institutions. In the early 90s, as a correspondent in Mexico, I opposed NAFTA because it all looked good on paper, but it didn't look that way in life. I think we have the same problem with public transit. I'm sure you've already crunched numbers, and you think the fare increase is necessary. So I wanted to tell you a story from life. Yesterday I was on a bus, and I noticed a man, thin, wearing working man's clothes and a cap with one tooth missing in front, an African-American man, I'd say in his 50s. And he was holding 3 white roses, big ones. So I asked him, I said, "Who are the flowers for?" And he said, "My wife." And I asked him, "Her birthday or an anniversary?" And he said, "Well, it's neither of that." He had been out of work for 2 or 3 months and hadn't been able to buy her any flowers. And yesterday he got rehired. And I got to thinking, if y'all's fares go up, that man may not be able to buy flowers again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Excuse me. The next speaker is Christian Otero.
First off, thank you all for pushing this back to March. I actually really appreciate it. I'm young. I'm like 19. So all my friends and me, we all use DART. None of us have cars. We can't afford them. We all go to work. We all go to school. And honestly, it doesn't seem like much, but it's $6 a day. 5 days of the week, that's a lot, and I can barely afford it now. And you know, I've been coming with the fare hike, North Texas Transit Riders Union, for a while, because I personally will be affected by this a lot, and I can't really afford it. I can't afford it. I just can't afford it. My friends can't afford it. I talked to them, and they're actually really worried about this too, and. I know it's like, might be necessary or whatever, but there's probably other ways you can do it, right? Because you're losing riders, and if I can't afford to take a train to my school or take a train to my job, I'll just walk. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Otero. The next speaker is Destin Germany.
Hi, my name is Destin. I'm 22 years old, and I've been in Dallas my entire life. I started riding dart in high school. Around the time that I was a freshman, I took up debate, so I had to stay later, and the buses didn't come, so I had to ride dart. Right. So at the time, students got a discount. Right. So I was paying $250 basically to get home every day. Right. And that's a lot for somebody in high school, especially when you're already struggling. Right. So in order for me to try to do something to advance myself, like debate in high school, I had to come up with whatever 250 times 5 is, sorry, right, every single week, right? So that means that I was not begging my mom because she's my mother, but asking her for quarters, for pennies, my older brother, teachers, right, things like that. And I feel like a lot of times, and even when I heard the speaker up here speak, she said things like community or public and like all people, right? And she also talked about the long wait times and why mothers don't want to ride transit because they have to go and pick up their kids or go and get groceries. And I just, want to add on to that. I was paying $250 to, take an hour ride, all the way back home after being at school for an extra hour, right? And so for 4 years I did that, right? I rode dart for 4 years in high school, and I was able to do debate and things like that. So I appreciate you guys even having the service at all. But at the same time, that was $250 a day that I lost out for 4 years, right? Because I wanted to do debate. And now that I'm older, right, I went to college, I graduated, and I came back, and I was struggling to find a job, right? And now I don't have that reduced fare. So then I was paying $5 a day. I was paying $5 a day to get to interviews, to get to the grocery store, and I was waiting super long times, right? And I was trying to figure out, at what reason was I paying $5 an hour? So that I could be late to interviews, or so that I could, carry large bags for, hours on end because I wanted to go and get groceries, right? And so even now, $5 is too much, and you guys want to raise it across the board. And I've seen the list, right? You guys try to make it to where you can buy one ride, one way, and things like that, and make it less complicated. But at the end of the day, it's about money, and a lot of people don't have opportunities in this town. And I understand that you guys want to, increase your revenue and things like that. But I just think you guys should take into consideration those of us that are out here struggling already. But once again, I do appreciate you for even offering the service at all. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Germany. The next speaker is Nathan Novy.
My name is Nathan Novy. I'm a student at UTA and an avid user of the TRE. First off, I'd like to thank you all for giving the North Texas Transit Riders the opportunity to speak out against the fare hike. Let me see here. As it's been made clear time and time again by this organization and other outspoken members of the community, the fare hike is unacceptable and needs to be voted down or scrapped altogether. For the sake of the riders, the city, and the agency. The proposed fare hike will only do more to hinder ridership, inhibit affordable transportation options for the economically disadvantaged, and further tarnish DART's image and credibility. Whether it's the Dallas Morning News reporting on a crime committed on DART property, a scathing editorial published by The Observer, or a rant posted to Facebook or Reddit, countless members of the community and the press have expressed their frustrations and concerns regarding DART time and time again, and rightfully so. Stations are unsafe, bus service is sparse and infrequent, and trains are filled with fare dodgers. But rather than improving station design with security in mind, remapping bus routes, and adding fare enforcement officers, the board decided to charge more money for an already undesirable service. However, this does not have to be the case. Again, I stand by North Texas Transit Riders in asking the board to scrap the fare hike. But I also suggest that the board members reconsider what needs to be done to improve DART's safety, credibility, and profit by meeting at a later date to provide real, long-term, beneficial solutions to the problems at hand. Too much attention has been drawn to this agency for the board members to make unpopular and potentially detrimental decisions. such as making transit more expensive in one of the most economically unequal cities in the country. In conclusion, I ask that the members of the board reconsider their approach to fixing DART and start to make the right decisions, starting with eliminating the fare hike proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Novy. The next speaker is Teresa Giaffanti.
Hi there, my name is Teresa Giaffanti, and I'm here to tell you, or here to say that I've been a DART paratransit rider for the last 4.5 years. As it's very frustrating because I've lost more of my sight in the last 2.5 years, I have to give a great deal to your DART paratransit, I guess their title, I don't really, Tammy Henslinger and her staff, because I am so honored and grateful that I am a part of the pilot program. I want you all to know that it is very imperative to me and hoping that you guys keep this program going and look into furthering it for these reasons. One, before the DART, and I like all the drivers and have, there's a lot of issues before, but since the DART paratransit has given the Lyft an opportunity, I don't have to be an hour and a half wait for work. I actually now have more freedom. What used to happen is I used to go to work and I had to say that I had to be there by 6 o'clock. Now, I can be at work at 6 o'clock, but I have the freedom to be at work anywhere from 6 to 9:30. If I told DART paratransit reservation I needed to be there at 9:30, they would make sometimes a ride at 6 o'clock, and I would sometimes get there, even though I said I had to be there at 9:30, I would get there by 8:45. And I'd be in a vehicle from 6 o'clock to 8:45. So then what would happen is I would be driving around going all to different areas of the city. I would take a tour of Texas instead of going directly to work. Since you've incorporated the Lyft program, I now have more freedom to get to work on time. I'm on time, but I also get there quicker and in a faster setting. I just hope that you guys can really look into keeping the service because it does help. I also have more freedom because I know I'm losing more of my sight. I can't walk and go where I used to go, but with the DART, when you guys offer the Lyft, I have more freedom because I can make rides within 2 hours and get where I need to go same day. I don't have to plan my day and hope it goes to the correct way. I just want to hope, and I really hope that you guys keep the service going, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Giaffanti. The next speaker is Stephen Meeks.
Good evening. 3 or 4 short comments. First, even though I avoid the West End Station, I do appreciate more security that I've noticed there when I ride the trains. Second comment is, I'm not sure you all have thought about this already, but thinking about providing express trains during rush hour from some of the faraway stations might increase ridership and encourage more people to ride. Actually, why I'm here today, I made this comment at least twice about a year ago, possibly 3 times via telephone, and it's such a simple fix, and there's really no reason for me to even be here. As my mother used to say, a little soap and water would clean anything, and I've reported this about 2 or 3 times in the last week. Your ticket vending machines in several locations are just absolutely filthy. And when you have thousands of hands constantly touching these machines, they need cleaning. You have to clean them on a regular basis. I was out at DFW Airport and a couple of faraway stations recently, and the vending machines were pretty much spotless on the face of the machines where people have to touch them. But in other areas, please have your people look at that and try to clean them on a regular basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meeks. That's our last speaker for before the meeting. We have a speaker after the meeting, so we will go back to our agenda. The next section on the agenda are the consent items. Ms. Wilkins, are you going to be here for number 6? Yes. Okay. Yes, if you'd like, we'll do that. We'll pull that. Okay. We will take number 6 individually, and that would be, Mayor?
Thank you. I move that approval of an additional funds for outside counsel in connection with Ogletree, Deacons, Nash, Smoke, and Stewart, PC, for assistance with Amalgamated Transit Union Local Number 1338 versus Dart and Nancy Johnson, cause number 13051560. I move the approval.
Second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion pass. We'll now continue back on to the consent agenda. Nancy, are you going to get Ms. Wilkins? Thank you. We have several items tonight on the consent agenda, and I'm looking for a motion for numbers 7 through 23. Is there a motion? I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Is anyone opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll move to the individual items. Item number 24, that would be Ms. Marino.
Yes, Madam Chair. Item 24 is to call for a public hearing for a service plan amendment for the Cotton Belt Corridor Regional Rail Project, alignment with the grade separation, stations, locations, and facility locations. This did come before the Planning Committee and the Committee of the Whole, and it was voted on unanimously. There's only, I'm sure you got your resolution changing the date to March 27 of 2018 with that correction only, and I move approval.
Thank you. Second, anyone? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there anyone who's opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Item number 25 has been deferred to the January board meeting, so we will go down to number 26, and again, that's Ms. Marino.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 26 also came before the Planning Committee in its approval of the interlock agreement for the shared service with Denton County Transportation Authorities, and I do move approval of this item.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 27 that'll be discussed at the Committee of the Whole only. We will now go back to our public comments, and we have one speaker who's registered for the end of the meeting. That is Coach Norris Johnson.
And a very special good evening, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Thomas, and the entire board in its entirety. I come to you this evening specifically addressing item number 15, which has to do with security. I don't know if those of you within the sound of my voice are aware of this, but there is an upcoming bond election for $1.8 million additional approval for DART security to help our able-bodied police force, thankfully headed up by Chief Spiller, Chief Addison, and their entire small but dedicated and strong force. I'd like to recommend that everybody in the sound of my voice now and wherever the voice goes, take a 10-on-10 rule. Tell your 10 closest people to go out and vote yes for this proposition for $1.8 million. Tell that 10 to go grab 10, and we'll do some chain voting. Just like we have constitutional rights to speak our mind and make our requests and let our concerns be known, let's let voting be a strong way that we can again say thanks to God for our DART system, which I've experienced being a native Dallasite since the early Dallas Transit days when they had a little jiggle machine and a change box on the side and all that good stuff. So Thanks for the time. Season's greetings to all of you, and a happy and prosperous 2018.
Thank you, Coach Johnson, appreciate it. We do have one more speaker. Do we have their card? While we're waiting, on behalf of the board, I want to wish all of y'all a happy holiday and a safe holiday. And I'm sure you'll be back in January again, and appreciate you coming down tonight. I know it takes your time to do that. We actually have two speakers. The first one is Ms. Mary Love. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, board. I'm glad to be here, and I made it a point to try to be here because I wanted to talk about that rate hike, the rate increase. I was reading in one of the papers, is that the price that it's going to be? Because I see it says for a 7-day pass it's $50. Is that the rate hike or what it's going to be or what it is now? Because, I mean, it doesn't make sense to have a 7-day pass for $50 when I can just go put $5 in the thing for 7 days, and that's $35.
We'll have someone talk to you after you do your comments, and you can ask them a lot of questions, if that would be okay. Thank you.
Basically, my comments are just general about if you're going to raise the prices, are you going to do anything about the services? Because I work 6 days a week, and I had to depend on the DART bus. And they're always late. I'm going to lose my job because I have to miss 3 hours of work a week because of the way the buses run. Yeah, and the way that they're scheduled, my connecting bus leaves 1 minute before I get there on the bus, and I have to wait another 30 minutes for another bus, which makes me late for work. And then what the board doesn't understand is that some people have to work weekends. And I work weekends. I work every Saturday and every Sunday. I have to be at work at 7 a.m. That's impossible because the first bus doesn't run until 7 a.m. And what I had to do 2 weeks ago in order to try to make some time up for work, I had to walk from Goldmark and Mid-Park all the way to the Spring Valley Station. That's about 2 miles in order to get the bus to get to work by 8 a.m. because the 360 comes at 7:30 by my house, but the 400 that I need leaves the station at 7:30. So how can I catch that bus? So I had to sit at the station until 8:30 to get the 400 and then get to work at 9 o'clock. I'm supposed to be there at 7. And if I was working here, you would have fired me 2 months ago. You see what I'm saying? So it's like my only complaint is that if you're going to raise the rate for what we do, make the service better because these buses need to be on time. I mean, every day when I get ready to get the 400 at Berry Trail and Beltline, it's supposed to come at 3:08. It never comes until 3:21. And whoever is scheduling these buses, they need to rethink. And then there's a lot of places, like at Berry Trail and Beltline, there's nowhere to sit. When I work on the weekends, I work 10 hours. I have rheumatoid arthritis in every bendable joint in my body. When I get off work, I'm tired, and I have to stand there and wait 25 minutes for a bus that's supposed to be there 5 minutes after I get to the stop because I just work across the street.
Ms. Love, I hate to interrupt you, but your time is up. But there is a gentleman, Tim Newby, who's standing right over there, who might be able to answer some of these questions and concerns that you have. And thank you for coming down.
All righty, thank
we
you.
Appreciate
and
it.
thank you for listening.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Yasin.
I'm Yasin. I'm speaking against the fare hike myself. DART in his early years, all the DART facilities were always open. You could get help until it was closed. All the facilities, you can go in and sit down out of the cold, out of the weather and the rain. All the DART buses, the train seats were pretty much always clean. Now all these things have changed. And I know why, but why does DART does not have restrooms at every stop as it should? Because how DART is being ran, due to all these things I just have spoken upon, it is like, how does DART has a standing to even promote a tax hike when all these things went for almost giving everything 100%. Now it seems like y'all giving 10%. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That was our last speaker, and we are going to conclude the meeting now and adjourn. It is now 7:22, and the DART Board meeting is now adjourned for December 12th. Thank you again for coming. Appreciate it.
This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer. We are here at the Dallas Area Rapid Transit Board meeting, the agency known as DART to Dallas, Texas residents. As a service to the Dallas community, we plan to cover DART Board meetings from gavel to gavel. Public comments are required to keep DART Board aware of issues close to the ridership that they may not get through other resources.